That's not a Rebel Cops game. No, unfortunately it's not. I did try Rebel Cops over the week, and it just refused to launch. Like, it's one of those games where Steam will say play, and you will see the game in the task manager, but it's not actually launching. And in my experience, that could be for any number of reasons. Because you don't get an error code, you can't really say what the reason is. So that's basically like looking for needle in a haystack to find out what's actually causing that issue. And I was like, no. We're just going to shove that into the do not stream category. And if and when I get around to having time to play this in private, I will double check it. But right now, no. It's not happening. We're going to re-roll at the end of the stream and see what we land on. And then I'm going to check whatever we land on later tonight. Hopefully it will launch. Of course, if we land on something that I've already played offline before, then I know it will work. But we'll see how it goes. It's a pity. I was really looking forward to Rebel Cops because it was made by VP. And we do currently have a VP game in the making. So would have been nice to see some of their previous stuff, but unfortunately it's not playing along with my hardware. I got a game that I tried to play on Steam and it told me my PC was too recent to play this game. Got an old PC. Yeah, I mean, it depends because I don't know exactly when it happened, but sometime over the last 20 years, the OS's operation system switched from 32-bit to 64-bit. And basically any game that was made in the 32-bit era is a gamble if it's going to work on a 64-bit system. It's like, yeah, this may or may not be turning out well. Most likely it won't. And then, of course, there's games like the original Darksiders, classic, the first one. That one does not handle any CPU well that has more than 2 cores. Because the game was made basically with single or dual core CPUs in mind. And anything that has more than 2 cores, the game is basically like, what am I supposed to do with this now? And you have to make the game think that you only have 2 cores. Which is ridiculous. Ah, help, too many cores. Yeah, it's like, it's losing its mind. And you have to be like, no babe, that's just like 4 cores in a trench coat, you know? 4 cores or 6 cores or 8 cores in a 2 cores trench coat. It's fine. Too fancy for me, I'm out, exactly. But that can happen when you try to play older games. Like, you just have to accept the fact that sometimes shit is going to break in really, really ridiculous ways. And of course, the general problem with PC gaming is there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of different hardware and software combinations. And especially if you throw Linux into the mix. I know Linux people really love their Linux, but how many different Linux operating systems do we have at this point? And I get that it's frustrating when your games don't play right, but if you're running some obscure Linux fork that most people will never even have heard about, and that's used by like 0.02% of the Linux installer base, not the entire installer base, but the Linux installer base, is like, yeah, you're probably on your own here, buddy. Like, the chance that anybody is gonna have the solution for your problem is going to be ridiculously slim. You had better know what you are doing. We've got more Sitka here. That reminds me, actually, I did want to look up. I remember recently I got the Steam hardware survey thing popping up again, asking me if I want to participate. So I will actually have to check if they put out their results for the hardware survey again. Those are always really interesting to see. Just to get a general idea of like, because when you're in your own bubble, you know, if you are, say for example, if you have an ultra-wide monitor, you're probably hanging out in forums for people with ultra-wide monitors, and you're gravitating towards like other player reports from people with ultra-wide monitors and all that. So you're kind of in a bit of a bubble. Ooh, that's a 4-star mature, nice. There is no way for we're going to identify which flock that is and keep an eye on it. Like, that's just not going to happen. Where was I? Oh yeah, and the hardware survey I think is a really nice way to get like a fact check on how common your hardware actually is. Like, is it really that common, or are you just hanging out in circles where this hardware is common? If you're like, oh yeah, everyone I know has an ultra-wide monitor, but then you look at the results and it's like 5% of the player base use an ultra-wide monitor. It's like, yeah, it's not as common as you might think it is. That's not to throw shade at ultra-wide monitors. I'm sure they're cool, but it puts things in perspective. And I get a lot of that myself because I often play games in ways that most players don't play them. And then I'm like, wait, doesn't everyone do this? No, most people don't do this. Most people actually play completely differently from how I play. And it's like, oh. Hey Faye, how's it going? Oh, okay, let me catch up on a few messages. Mostly it's down to Steam and its Proton layer, as well as the graphics card window, but there's things that run better on Linux these days. That is very true. What do you think is the worst animal to age? For me, bears just suck to age, especially the American black bear. Well, American black bears take forever, yes, but I also don't hunt American black bears very often. I think the worst ones are probably the birds, because most of the birds, especially the wetland birds, like ducks and such, they live for a really, really long time, and you don't even have a caller to weed out the low fitness ones. So you get like a 25-year animal or 20-year animal and no caller. And that can get really miserable really fast. Okay, well, if we have wolves within calling range, we're gonna call them. Just gonna switch back and forth between callers. No Way of the Hunter 2 stream. No Way of the Hunter 2 stream, because I haven't even finished Way of the Hunter 1. I never actually streamed this map on Way of the Hunter 1 until like last month, I think. Because I didn't get around to it. I just didn't have time. The first half of my year has been so fucking busy. Alright, we're gonna call the wolves again. And whatever comes in first, if anything comes in, gets shot. I don't see any of the deer responding. So it's likely that those are all high fitness, same as the last group that we saw. We do have a male calling, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's responding to the caller. They all seem pretty unbothered. So we're just gonna stick with the Kai caller, and we're gonna see if we can get a wolf. They're this way. That's about 200 meters. It's really hard to see anything here. But it doesn't look like we have anything coming in. So we're just gonna move on. The wolves are not that interesting to me, to be honest. Also, I want to see if I can maybe... There was one old-looking Sitka in that group. I want to see if I can get to the other side of the lake and check out what his star rating is. Something else in the distance over there. But I don't know what. Ducks, okay. I do still need a low fitness duck. Definitely not getting that out of that flock. Oh, the Sitka deer are leaving. Oh, it was a 3-star mature, okay. Oh, boing boing all the way over there. It's fine. But we need to go that way anyway, so we're probably going to spook the Sitka deer. Oh, those are wolves. Okay, let's stand still. And then we can maybe try calling. I'm actually going to need to go a bit to the side here so I can see better. Okay, mature female alerted. But what I need to know is, do you have any low fitness males? They were somewhere over here. Gonna try again. See if we can get any of them. But we're not gonna spend too much time on this. Like I said, I don't really care that much about the wolves. Oh, and there's a bear eating zone right next to us. That I completely missed. I don't see anything coming in. Oh, there we go. We've got 2 coming in from somewhere over here. But I can't tell if those are females or males. Young female. Okay. Not what I want. Gonna have to get them out of this tree line and see if there are any males in that group. In the meantime, let me switch to slugs. Might as well make use of the time while we're waiting. And wolves are tier 5, so we're going to need either slugs or our SM12. Come on. Get a bit closer. I need you to come out of the trees. Don't got any of them close enough yet. Oh, mature female. So we got a mature female coming in and a young female. And then one further behind. What are you? I need to know what the one behind them is. There you are. Adult female. Pfft. 3 females and not a single male. Well. Spook, my dears. Let's grab this zone. We're packing it up and we're leaving. And I'm actually going to get myself something more to drink. I'll be right back.